Hey guys, it's Layla here, and today's video is going to be about Vidcon and my experience because Vidcon was 2 weeks ago, and yeah, I've been meaning to make a video. Well, I wanted to film it with my best friend Michaela, but we just have very two busy lives with babysitting and jury duty and work and moving and everything in life. So unfortunately she couldn't be here, which is really disappointing because we could have elaborated on each other's stories and added like little minor details that maybe one of us forgot, but I'm gonna have to do this without her, and you know, it's okay. I will do my best. Speaking of Michaela, I'm working on my VidCon vlogs too. I have to get the rest of the footage because I thought I got it all from her. I did not bring a computer, so I put the footage from my memory card onto her computer, and I thought when we got home that I got all the footage off, but I didn't. And I was like, you know what? I can do without it, but then I realized no, because it was like pretty much half of Saturday that was missing, and I'm just like, never mind, I better get that footage, because if I don't, then half of the stuff I filmed won't make sense or won't have an intro. So where do I begin? Let's start off with the fact that it was way different than last year. Last year there was only about 10,000 people, and this year there were 18,000 people. 18,000 people! That's like double. And let me tell you, I will be the first to say that fangirls move in mobs. For example, I was walking straight and Connor Franta walked right by me and I almost died. Yeah, what a great way to die. 1,000 ways to die, mobbed by fangirls. I'm surprised that people didn't get hurt at all, or like no one was seriously hurt. Like, okay, in 2013, there was like some slight mobbing, but here in 2014, they took mobbing to the next level. Like, it was Tyra Banks, America's Next Top Model level. Like, that is how advanced the fangirls and mobbing was this year. Not even downplaying it. I guess other than that, I can go by the days. So I went there Wednesday, the day before, to pick up my pass, which looks like this. I don't know, mine kind of got distorted because it rubbed off on my clothes, which is not good. But okay, I will tell you a funny story about this. I got this on Saturday, and it was funny because I was just sitting down in the little long hallway to charge my phone. So this guy walks up to me and he's like, "Do you happen to be tweeting by chance?" And lo and behold, I was scared and creeped out and wondering how he knew that I was on Twitter. Like, I don't know if he knew I was on Twitter or what, but he did. What kind of magical powers he had, I do not know. So yeah, that's the story of how I got this. It says I tweet. That's right, I do tweet. So it would be really dumb if I didn't take this moment to give myself some self-promo. So at Miss Lovely Layla on Twitter, go follow me. So anyways, I get my badge and I'm like, I want to walk around and meet people, because that's when all the big YouTubers were meeting people the night before. And I wish I could have stayed, but I didn't have the money to pay for parking, and I was checking the hotel the next day. So I'm just like, whatever, I'll go home. Unfortunately, because once I got there, I did not want to leave. And you know what? I was stuck in traffic for 4 hours, and it usually only takes about an hour and a half to get home from Orange County to where I live. So that was crazy. And I still hadn't packed. Another thing that I forgot to mention that I didn't at the beginning, but I should have, is that VidCon was 3 days instead of 2 last year. Unless you had the industry pass, then it was 3 days last year. So I get there bright and early on Thursday, and I meet up with my friend Keely, who I hadn't seen in a year, and me, her, Michaela, and her friend, we all went to the expo hall and did like a whole bunch of fun like activities. There was a Friskies kitty booth. We got cute little kitty ears. There was a booth where we could dance and be on the Jimmy Fallon show, possibly. There was apparently an Instagram booth, which I did not know of. There was so many. There was a lot of sales booths. There was like district lines. There was an HGTV booth. There was a 17 magazine booth. Then we went back to the Hilton Hotel because I needed to charge my phone. This is where things get difficult. So last year, I remember I was able to get into signing lines, no problems. But this year, getting into a signing line was impossible. I didn't even go in any. It was ridiculous. It was disorganized. And the only time I suggest going into a signing line is if you go to Vidcon to meet a particular person. You'd be waiting in line all day to meet this person. For example, Zoella, I really want to meet her. I plan to go to her meetup. But the line closed at 6:30 a.m. And the convention center didn't even open until 9. This kind of messed up Vidcon in a way for me because it was disappointing. And on Thursday, I really wanted to meet like the YouTube British boy band with Joe, Alfie, etc. those boys. But the line was so long, and the horrible part is on Thursday, they didn't even know how to go about it. There wasn't any clear directions on how to get into the lines. There was a big mob, and it was just not possible to get through there. The worst part of this is there's a big mob with like ropes holding the mob back, which is understandable. But in front of that, there is so much open space that is not used, and there's only like a few people. It didn't even look like many people waiting in line. The rule is 250 people for a 2-hour signing and 500 for a 4-hour signing. Okay, just for comparison, I want to say that this is ridiculous because I went to an O2L meetup in Weddington Park. It was like the big one when they first moved here, and they met over 1,000 people in 6 hours. This is getting so out of sequence, but okay. Anyways, after I went to go meet the British boy band, which didn't ever end up happening, I tried to get back into the hotel, but they had it blocked off unless you're a hotel guest. This was particularly irritating to me because my mom was in there with all my stuff and I needed to get to my stuff and they wouldn't let me in. I suggest to stay at the Hilton. It's expensive, but they were talking about how they might have to do it again next year. So yeah, stay in the Hilton if you don't want to get blocked out of the hotel. It was such a big ringamaroo to get me back in. Is that even a word? Because if it's not, then it is now, because that's a fun word. So basically, I had to be escorted in by the hotel manager. I only met one YouTuber the first day, and that was Beyond Beauty Store, or Claudia. She was so nice. That's kind of how it was last year. I met more people the second day than the first, so I'm just like, you know what, this is normal. The next day was Friday, and that day was much more interesting than the first. So there was a panel I wanted to get to at 9:30 in the morning, and it was about beauty vloggers and dealing with hate. And if you don't know, my two favorite YouTubers of all time, Ellen Blair, Fowler, the Fowler sisters, Juicy Star 07, and All That Glitters 21, promoted them. Not like they really need it, but still. We're on that panel. In order to get into the convention center, there's a really long line, and I got there on time at 9 o'clock, bright and early, and I was in line for an hour, so I missed half the panel. Thanks, line that I didn't have to wait in the year before. I just thought it was ridiculous because, I mean, why couldn't you just walk in the convention center like you did pretty much all day anyway? You walked in and out of it. Why? I went to the last half of that panel. I'm surprised they let me in. And I ended up meeting Ellen Blair. I was so excited. And I planned to go to their Q&A the next morning, but the same thing happened and I completely missed it. I met them and I was so excited. They were just really nice, and I'm glad that I finally got to meet them because last year when I went to VidCon, I was really disappointed that they didn't go. And then they went to Playlist this year and I was like, man. But then they said they were going to VidCon and I'm like, yes. And I was like, there is no way that I'm not meeting them. And I wanted to get their books for them to sign, but every Barnes & Noble I went to, which was like 4 of them, did not have the books. Like, Barnes & Noble, stop it. A few hours passed, I don't know what happened. I think I just charged my phone. And SDK was having a meetup, and this is actually a really cool story because we made the meetup. So the members of SDK that were there, which was Joey, Jonah, Adam, Nick, and Nolan, but they were tweeting, they're like, yeah, we're gonna have a meetup outside by the fountain, and I'm like, I'm not gonna miss this. So I didn't, and it was shut down. And okay, this is another thing I have to talk about. Security is mean. Like, they are unnecessarily rude. Don't even get me started on security. Security said that they would get us in the signing hall in lines to meet them, but then they were yelling, and I asked the guy that was like one of the security guys, can we line up? And he wouldn't answer me. And then another guy who thought he was so cool and knew everything, which clearly he didn't, he was like, oh, well, they tried to start their own thing, so we're just gonna shut them down and take away their passes. And I'm just like, okay, you do that. Don't talk about things you don't know about. And another thing, if I'm being nice to you, don't treat me like I'm one of the screaming fangirls. Another example of this is my friend Hope, who is a huge Connor Franta fan, has been a fan of him for years. She didn't get there right on time for the signing, and the security lady told her that she wasn't a diehard fan. Okay, you do not tell somebody that they are not a diehard fan just because they didn't show up there on time. Who knows what could have happened? What if they couldn't get their car parked on time because parking was a bitch at the Hilton? What if they tripped and fell and had to get a band-aid put on? What if anything happened? And that's all I have to say about security, because security makes me really, really mad. I was so excited to meet Joey and Jonah and Adam and Nolan and Nick. Well, Nolan isn't a part of SDK, but you know, he might as well be. Those guys are totally real. Like, there's nothing fake about them. They're authentic. And I just have 100% total respect for them because they honestly deserve it. While I was in line to meet SDK, I met one of my internet friends, Jill. She's from Twitter. Most of my friends are from Twitter because, yeah. Yeah. And it was so, she's just really sweet. And we ended up going back to the Marriott, and we just ended up going back to the Marriott and charging our phone and looking for NASH GRIER in Cameron, Dallas, which is a funny story in its own. Okay, as we were walking through the Marriott, we ran into Allie Simpson, who totally like gave us the stare down, and after she passed, we're just like, that was Allie Simpson. I don't know, I could have asked for a picture, but I didn't think about it. Okay, here's the thing. When you are walking through the hotel or the convention center or whatever, and you see a famous YouTuber or somebody that you know that's pretty popular, you really don't ever ask for pictures. You either just say, hey, what's up? Or you think, hey, I know that person. That is what happens to me, at least. So anyways, getting back to the subject of Nash and Cam, well, we were looking everywhere. We walked all throughout the hotel and couldn't find them. And so me and Jill part our ways. We say goodbye, and then as I'm walking the opposite way, who do I run into? Gee, I wonder who. Just, you know, Nash GRIER and Cameron, Dallas. Not that big of a deal. Dressed as pieces of toast. And I watched them film a Vine? Like, who can say that they've watched Cameron, Dallas and Nash GRIER film a Vine? Well, that's one thing I can cross off my bucket list. I was so shocked, and it was just for a few seconds, me, them, and their camera crew. So I was shocked, and I had my camera in my hands, but I felt that it was a little inappropriate to film them because it was just like us. Like, that's just something you don't do. So as they were running away from me, people had caught on that it was them because there was like 100 people, 100 girls to be specific, looking for them. I finally came to my senses and I grabbed my phone and I just recorded the back of them running away from me. If you want to see it, here it is. That's Nash and Cameron up there, guys. It's really hard to see, but they're dressed as pieces of toast and you can kind of see the tops of it. Like, that's pretty cool, right? Honestly though, I wouldn't even try to get in the mob to meet them because it was ridiculous. Just no. Okay, another story kind of thing that happened all throughout Friday. Me and Michaela wanted to meet Zoe and Louise. Zoe was nowhere to be found, but we ran into Louise like a million times. Well, that's just an exaggeration. We ran into her about 4 times, but you know, that's a lot to run into somebody. I can honestly say I did not run into anyone or any YouTuber more than I ran into Louise, and I didn't get a picture with her. The first time it was at her beauty vloggers panel with Ellen Blair, and I wanted to get a picture with Ellen Blair. So yeah, that happened. The second time we saw her was when she was going in the parking garage, but me and Michaela wanted to find like a quiet place. It was around the parking garage and it was a place where you could smoke. However, me and Michaela don't smoke and just no one was over there. And we saw her walk by and we're like, Louise, can we have a picture? And she's like, yes. And then she's like, wait, never mind, I'm sorry, I have to get going. And then me and Michaela were like, it's fine. Like, we caught her in the parking garage. Like, what do we expect? It just sucked because we were so close. The third time we saw her was at another beauty panel, and the security guard was like, okay, just line up here and she'll meet you guys. After the line was formed, Louise went out the back way, and I guess she didn't know that there was a line that security had gotten ready for. The fourth time, oh my gosh, okay. She was coming down from the 3rd floor onto the 2nd floor, and there was like hardly anyone there. And I was on the 2nd floor, and she was coming down the escalator, and I was waiting at the bottom of the escalator, and I'm like, yes. I was gonna ask for a picture, and then she walks the opposite way, and I'm just like, you know what? I can't. You don't understand the struggle to meet Louise. Okay, I also had a goal coming into this year, VidCon, and that goal was to try and meet the YouTubers that I hadn't met last year. That plan worked out pretty well. I got to meet a lot of YouTubers and just people that I hadn't met the year before. I honestly didn't see the point of waiting all day to meet O2L when I've already met them, like, I don't even know, 4 times. Guys, I gotta prioritize. Sorry. You know I love O2L. Here's a list of YouTubers that you probably won't meet because they will be so crowded, or they won't come down from their hotel rooms, or their lines will be so long you probably won't be able to get into them. Zoella, the British boy band. Definitely O2L. If you go to see one of those people, you better make sure that you get in the signing lines way early at the crack of dawn. Now we are coming to the end of Friday, and that is when we went to go see Bethany's Q&A. It was like at 5:30. Okay, let me say something about Bethany Moda. That girl is so sweet. Like, I could be best friends with her. She is so nice. She's so bubbly. She is really, like, I just keep saying she's really nice, but she is. Like, I don't know if there's anybody nicer than her. Like, that is a lot to say. She is sweeter than sugar. We have the same favorite TV shows. We both love fashion. She's really just, she's perfect, okay? Bethany Moda is perfect. One thing I was disappointed though, at the end of her Q&A, she was like going to meet everybody, but she had something she had to get to, which is okay and understandable. It just sucked because the only other time you could meet her was at her signing, which again, gotta get there at 6 a.m., which again, wasn't happening for me. Oh, and another thing, we went to IHOP for lunch. We were there at the same time Jack and Finn were, and we didn't know. And then a lady and her 2 daughters were seated next to us. They asked a simple question. Were Jack and Finn sitting at this table? We just saw them leave. Me and Michaela were just like, so it's pretty impossible to meet them, but if we would have met them, we would have accomplished the impossible. I can't even with that moment. Like, we were eating IHOP at the same time Jack and Finn were eating IHOP. That's pretty crazy. Now we are moving on to the third and final day, which was Saturday. This is the day that me and Michaela kind of did our own thing. Like, she waited all day from 9 o'clock in the morning till 5 in the afternoon to meet Tyler Oakley. And I was like, oh, heck no, I am not standing in that long line. Do you know what I could be doing with my time? See, there were a ton of panels that I wanted to go to on Saturday, and I did go to a ton of panels. I went to 3. There was actually another one I wanted to go to, but I wasn't able to. The first one I went to was at 11 o'clock, and it was about starting a beauty channel. And then there was another panel at 11 o'clock, which was about booktubing. Now this sucks because they were both at the same time and I really wanted to go to both panels. But that would have been interesting to go to the booktubing panel because I like doing book reviews. In fact, I think my next video may be a book review, so stay tuned for that. After that panel, I met Fleur. Picture here. And if you guys have been with me for a while, you actually know that I had met Fleur before at the Grove at a meetup with Ingrid, like a long time ago, like a year and a half. Maybe not that long ago, but it was still a while ago. It was so lovely to see her and I just adore her. After I met Fleur, I ran back to the hotel. Well, I drove back to the hotel actually. I didn't run because that would be like an hour because I couldn't stay at any hotels near the convention center because they were all booked. Anyways, I drove back to the hotel and I got my camera because my camera was being charged. I thought it was charging all night and it ended up that it wasn't charging. So yeah, I got my camera and then I went back to the convention center and what did I even do? Another thing that was really annoying is I wanted to go to the Hilton to get Starbucks and they wouldn't let me because I wasn't a hotel guest. But you know, I wanted my coffee. They turned down business. Whatever. I guess you don't want my money. I don't know what to say. I would have given it to you. Okay, and can I just say that my mom saw so many people. She saw Ansel Elgort. She saw Alfie. He was right behind her in line at Starbucks. She saw Tyler Oakley. And those are just the people that she knew. She was actually also speaking to other people that I don't know who they were, but they were important, like she told me, but I forgot. But yeah. My mom. This is why I bring her to events like this. I was like in line for an hour to get into the balancing school on YouTube because, okay, first off, Ricky was on that panel, and Kingsley, and Leah Marie Johnson, and Jill Striffler, and I love them all. And I was actually like really into the topic because I'm in school, well, kind of in school, and I am a YouTuber, kind of. Like, I'm not a big YouTuber, but I'm still technically a YouTuber. But you know, since Ricky and Kingsley were on it, it was like a panel that you had to wait in a long line for. So I was in line for that, and then okay, there was an hour in between that and the How to Vine panel with Josh Peck, which is Josh from Drake and Josh, and he's a Viner, like obviously on the How to Vine panel. And it was really cool because they just let me and a few other people that were going to go to both panels stay in there, so that was really exciting. I had, well, not really a front row seat, but I had a good seat. And okay, there was one person I was super excited to see and I did not expect to be there, and it was Marcus Johns. He's like my favorite Viner ever. I was just so happy to see him. Like, he wasn't on the list of people on the panel, so I was sitting down, I'm like, is that who I think it is? And it was Marcus, and I fangirled. Like, out of anybody, he's the person I fangirled over, and I'm like fangirling right now. Anyways, after the panel, he was so sweet. Like there was like a big mob of people around him and Jerome, and he's like, I am going to meet each and every one of you. It was really nice because he actually went to the back corner of the room and he did meet everybody. It was really nice because he actually went to the back corner of the room we had the panel in and he did meet everybody. I was shaking after I met him. Out of everybody, I fangirled the most when I got a picture with him. And Josh Peck wasn't meeting anybody because, you know, he's a celebrity. Like, he was the only, well, he was the biggest legit celebrity there, so they weren't gonna take any chances. Which, I wanted to get a picture with Jerome, but I couldn't get a picture with Jerome. The sad thing is, I watched Jerome walk out of the hotel and I'm just like, I could have, but I didn't. Okay, here's the thing too. You don't want to bug people too much because, you know, they have places to be and people to meet other than their fans, so you can't really be in their way all the time, which sucks. There's this personal level of respect and balance that you have to have when meeting YouTubers outside of signings and stuff like that. After the Vine panel, me and Michaela just went outside and we hung out. Like, there were a whole bunch of YouTubers giving impromptu meetups. And, you know, the lines weren't too long, only like 15, 20, 30 people in them. And we met Candy Johnson and we met Tila Dunn. And at the same time, there was also like a music festival hosted by Awesomeness TV. And we watched John D perform and Leah Marie Johnson and just like a few other singers who were fantastic. That was pretty much the end. I had just been running on like 10 hours sleep for the whole weekend. VidCon's just an exhausting weekend and sleep disappears. I don't know where it goes. Nobody knows where it goes, but it doesn't happen. That's for sure. So then we went to IHOP again and I was pretending to be British and a lot of people thought I was British. That last night in IHOP, I went completely and totally bonkers. One thing that I want to do is apologize if, okay, I have 2 reasons to apologize. First, if this camera was out of focus because I had it focused for me to sit forward, but I keep sitting back. See, that's a problem. And the second thing and biggest thing I have to apologize for was in my VidCon tips video about signings. I said to get there 15 minutes, maybe an hour early. Boy, was I wrong, and I feel bad if anybody listened to that. It's only because, trust me, it's not that I don't want anyone to meet their idols or anybody that they're a fan of that they want to meet. It's because I didn't know. Like, it was completely different than last year. So I completely beg your pardon if you watch that and you're like, oh my God, Layla, you screwed my trip up. So yeah, I did not intend that. So yeah. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It is going to be long and rambly and I'm sorry about that, but I mean, you kind of signed up for it because this was a long weekend and there was a lot of stories to tell. And if you want to know anything else about VidCon or my experience or my trip or whatever, just leave a comment down below and I will do my best to get back to you. Make sure to subscribe for more videos that are going to be coming super soon. And I will see you guys soon. Make sure to have a lovely day and I will see you soon. Bye!